Hello, this is Martha, living the one light. So, today I am taking a look at the energies for the upcoming new moon eclipse that's happening on June 10th. And I'm noticing some really beautiful things that I hadn't seen before. So I wanted to share some of that with you. But also tying into all of that, I wanted to speak about a concept or a theme that's been coming up for me a lot lately over the past 2-3 weeks in particular, but really over the last months, years, which is the concept of alignment and what that means, and in particular 2 aspects of alignment that have been really present for me. So first, I want to name what it is I'm seeing in this chart of this upcoming eclipse, because I was feeling the spirit world saying, there's something else there. Take a look. There's some really healing aspect to this. And then I just, took a look and I went, wow, yeah, there is. There really is. So for those of you who do astrology speak, you can, hear these words. And for those of you who don't, that's okay. Just let it wash over you. But astrologically, what's really sticking out to me about this new moon eclipse is that this new moon is going to be at 19 degrees Gemini on the north, or near the north node of the moon. And as I talked about in a video that I did with Michelle Dench last week, also with this new moon is going to be Mercury going retrograde, essentially, almost basically conjunct, but 1 degree away from the new moon. But Mercury will be at 20 degrees Gemini and will be going retrograde, so coming back toward the new moon, the sun and the moon, which will be sitting together in the sky. I mean, in the same part of the sky. So that's like the obvious layout of this new moon eclipse. But what some of the things that I'm noticing are that also at the moment of this new moon, there's going to be a really beautiful and interesting grand trine of Juno on the south node of the moon in Sagittarius, trining Hygeia in Leo, and then both of them trining Chiron in Aries. And then all of this, the Juno will be with the south node. So it's this grand trine with the south node involved, and the south node has to do with things that we're bringing from the past, or that maybe are ready to let go from the past, or there's this association with things coming through from the past. So when I see this grand trine, what it really feels like to me is an opportunity and an energy. Hygeia being a goddess who's associated with healing. She's also associated with hygiene. I really feel her as being associated with healing in particular. And then Chiron, who's often thought of as the wounded healer. So Chiron can bring an energy of feeling hurt, or betrayed or stabbed in the back kind of a thing. But Chiron also can be very healing, can bring, really transformative healing energy and intention and opportunities. and also has an element of us as the healer teacher, like that we've gone through certain trials or hurts or pains, and then we become healed from that, and then we become able to teach it, like heal it in ourselves, and then heal it in others, and then teach about it, once we're really integrated with our own healing. So so there's Hygeia trining Chiron, and then trining the south node of the moon conjunct Juno. And Juno has a lot of different associations. What comes up for me typically with her is, she's typically known as the goddess of marriage, quote unquote. When I feel into her, usually what I feel is more a sense of her being an energy of devotion, the devotion we have to ourselves, within ourselves, of our own inner sacred marriage in ourself. But then it can have to do with manifesting that outside of ourselves, or doing it with another human outside of ourselves. But I really, when I drop in just the pure energy of her, in particular with this configuration, I feel her as an element of like reminding us of the devotional quality of why we're here, what we're doing. And then if she's doing this dance, like this harmonious kind of triangular 60-degree angle triangle configuration with Hygeia and Chiron, all in fire signs, it's when I drop into that triangle that they're making, it's like this, they become this song of like singing the song of devotion to our own healing. That with Juno on that south node, we've been doing all this work. We had this eclipse just recently, last week, that was on the south, the moon was on the south node of the moon, so it was a south node eclipse. So it's had this element of bringing stuff up from the past and all of that. So now we still have Juno sitting there, and she's in this grand trine with Hygeia and Chiron, and it's so those elements are still sitting there like as a healing balm. That's one way I'm feeling it. Like that full moon eclipse moved on, but these energies are sitting there and they're still saying, like, maybe stuff got cleared from the past in this eclipse, or over whenever, like over the past however long that stuff has been getting brought up from the past, which is our whole existence, really. But they're sitting there like holding the space of devotion to healing. That's a huge part of why we're here on this planet, and why, like, the healing inevitability, I want to say, of life. That the ultimate, one thing that I get shown all the time when I pray and I get taken up into the cosmos and existence, is I get reminded that, like we learned in 9th grade biology or something, or 8th grade biology, that the natural state of things is homeostasis. And so that's how life is, including on the highest level. The natural state of existence is homeostasis, balance, harmony, really, with itself. And so that's our natural state of being, which we don't tend to feel or remember in our life on this planet, because there's so much of not so harmonious things going on all the time. And then, yeah, this configuration just feels to me like I said, a healing balm, and that, like, holding that space for us to essentially transcend in whatever way we're ready to, the karmic stuff that we have brought forward that's ready to transmute, move on from, and that the ultimate inevitability here is to come back to this harmonious, balanced state of being. And then what's really cool also in the energies at this time is that it's like just so much healing potential, because there's also difficult things like Pluto opposite Mars, or I want to say potentially difficult things. I don't like to label things that way. So I don't want to be like the Pollyanna version of everything, but really that's what I'm called to see is the healing potential in the energies. And that feels better to me to focus in that way, so that's how I tend to see things. But one of those healing potentialities that I see in these energies also is that this new moon is basically squaring Neptune, which is conjunct Pallas Athena. So these goddesses are playing a really beautiful, they're always playing a really beautiful, interesting role in the sky, in ourselves all the time. But Pallas Athena, to me, has to do with the energy in us that is like can see from the bird's eye view, like is a visionary, like a planner. She's associated with being on the battlefield with her father, right? But it's like she would look down at the battlefield and she would help strategize how to proceed. And with her in Pisces conjunct Neptune, which she has been for a little while, that's just really cool to contemplate. What is the visionary in Pisces? I have to sit with that a little bit. And it kind of echoes Jupiter's little dance between Pisces and Aquarius, because Aquarius also has to do with energies of visionary things, envisioning things, and the visionary qualities of us and of existence. So it's like the Aquarian visionary energy is pairing with the Piscean source energy, like the ethereal, oneness and ultimate existence energy. And so it's like I have to drop into that a little bit to really get what that would feel like for me. But yeah, it's really, one way I'm feeling that is just that it's about us seeing through the eyes of God, in a sense, and coming back again to blending, that we're here on this planet to do whatever it is we came to do. For a lot of that is to manifest new ways of being, or put into practical, grounded, earthly terms a new vision or a new way of being on this planet. And the combination of Aquarian and Piscean energies certainly speaks to that. That we're really here to do the will of the divine, of God, of Source. And yet, we're often like when we tap into the Piscean ultimate oneness with all of creation, one level of bringing the will of God, the will of the divine into form, is to be able to bring it down into our visionary awareness. So that energy is really connected to this new moon eclipse also, which is really cool. And then then my eye is brought again back to, well, then I just also want to say, also at the time of this eclipse, also inviting this kind of soft, healing, beautiful kind of energy, is that Venus and Mars are both in Cancer. And Venus is at 9 degrees Cancer. Mars is at 29 degrees Cancer. Like really, 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 really on the cusp of entering Leo, but still in Cancer. And so, you know, again, bringing us back into this sense of what is the most true reality of what I feel, what I need, of who I am on the most vulnerable inner level. You know, that is really needing to be honored and protected, and it needs harmony and balance again. I mean, there's a lot of this repeating of the same kind of themes, which is always really cool. So, but then here's where this comes back to the concept of alignment, and what I am feeling really called to also speak to is, like I said earlier, that Mercury, which is going to be conjunct this new moon, is going retrograde. It's already going retrograde, and it will be going retrograde on that new moon, and it'll be only 1 degree away from the new moon. So it's, you know, right, it's like about to come in line, right in line with the new moon. And not only is Mercury going retrograde, but a whole bunch of other planets are going retrograde. So Pluto, on this new moon, Pluto is going retrograde, Saturn is going retrograde, Jupiter will be going retrograde 9 or 10 days after the new moon, after the eclipse. But, you know, so it's very, 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 very slow and very close to going retrograde. And I feel like I'm forgetting one. But anyway, that's a lot in and of itself. Juno is actually going retrograde also on this new moon. But anyway, what I keep getting called to speak to over and over and over again is the concept of alignment and what that means. And there are two particular ways two particular aspects to alignment that keep coming up for me. And that, you know, I'm feeling the pull of this in this configuration on this new moon eclipse. With these retrogrades, it's like we're getting pulled back into ourselves. And for me, a big part of what that feels like and what that means in my body and in, you know, what I just feel in the cosmos going on, and with what the spirit world tells me, or seems to be nudging, is the real importance of us continually, over and over and over and over and over again, first of all, learning, what does that feel like? What does that mean for me to come into like the deepest, most pure, simple click inside me, like come into my core, the me, like the spark that's me, come all the way back inside and click with that. What does that feel like? Like some of us have that knowledge, like we've had that experience and we know what that is like, and I hear from a lot of people who don't yet know what that's like. And so number one is, the spirit world saying to me that it's so, they really basically want me to help people find that. And so I have, various ways that I do that with people one-on-one, and then also through online classes, and then also the books that I've channeled, the One Light series. They're all really focused on, coming into ourselves and clicking with the alignment that is our particular alignment with the divine. And so that's really, really, really feeling really important. And Michelle Dench and I spoke about that in the video that we did together a few days ago about the energies of June. So you can definitely listen to that if you want to hear a little more of both of our thoughts on that aspect of alignment. So that aspect of alignment is also for me tied into the idea that there is no one right way to perceive things, know things, believe things. That I have a way of coming into my kind of clicking with source and the spirit world, and the way they speak to me is very particular, I think, to me. And I don't feel called to teach people how I particularly do it, but I do feel very, very directly told to help people to find their own way, which may or may not be similar to my way. It might be very similar. Some people it is very similar, and other people it's drastically different. So yeah, this, really strong importance on finding our own alignment with that place in us that connects with the wisdom of the divine, like the infinite wisdom of the all that is, and being able to access that place in us. Really, really important. And then the other aspect of alignment, which I think I may have touched on a little bit over the past few months, but is coming up more and more strongly for me, is also the aspect of alignment that has to do with relating to others, really relating to ourselves first and foremost, and then also in relating to others. So we each have this, alignment with the divine. And then we also have a need to stay in that alignment even when we are interacting with the outside world. So I was given this kind of image the other day that I felt really helpful, and I'm feeling called to share it, which is the first part of this image I think I've shared before, maybe. And then the second part is more new to me. So the first part, which I saw in a meditation a few months ago, is the idea that we're all part of a divine grid, like a divine grid of existence. And I'm going to try to turn this so that the light is a little bit more conducive to you being able to see me. Okay, here we go. So we're all part of a divine grid, or like the sacred geometry of life. Okay, but the image I was given or shown, or what I felt in my body also, is that it's essentially like our spines are these golden rods of golden light. And so we have these rods that go, up and down our spine, like essentially through our spinal column. And then it goes up through the top of our head and then all the way into source. And then the same rod goes, down down our spinal column and down into the earth, and then those two ends of the poles go through infinity and then meet. So it's like we're a loop, and we're grounded in the earth, and we're grounded in infinity. But then each of our particular golden rods in us, which is our connection to the divine, and that's our alignment, like our personal alignment that I was speaking to with the divine. There's that we can focus on, and that can help us to really click into our own connection to that divine wisdom that I was talking about. But then if I like essentially pan out from the visual of, my energetics with the divine in that way, then what I suddenly get shown is, oh, it's not just me, of course. It's literally everything and everyone. So I may have shared this story before, but the day that I was shown this, I was sitting with a friend on the side of a mountain a few months ago, and we were, pretty far apart, maybe 20 feet apart, and we were facing each other, and we both closed our eyes and we tuned in to the divine. And this friend is also, really connected to the divine in a way that's pretty similar to me on a certain level. So when I closed my eyes and tuned in, what I was shown was the golden rod going through me, and then the golden rod going through him, and how, of course, we both connect fully into source. And then there is this golden grid that connects him and me, that connects us each to source separately, and then connects us to literally all of existence. So between you and me, there is going to be this golden rod, that connects us, there's going to be the rod that goes up through you into source, through me into source, and then literally connects us to infinity. It doesn't matter who we are, that is just reality. So what that then brought me to, and what the spirit world essentially said to me is, it is key for humans to remember, especially I think women, but I think of a person of any gender, to remember to come fully back into that, like click with that alignment of that golden rod that is her or him or them or, themselves. So to continuously come back into that, click into that, to your own golden rod over, and like have that be your mantra over and over and over again. And when we do that, like so many things, I realized, just like this kind of like this snowball realization for me happened of all the things that the ripple effect of what happens when we are really truly clicked into our own direct line to source. Number one, we can much more easily access our divine wisdom. Number two, we are able to be fully in our own bodies, much more easily and fully aware of our own needs, our own feelings, what feels literally in alignment for us or not. And then we also can let go of guilt and shame and so many things. I mean, so many feelings that we might have if and when we are essentially extending our energy into the space between us and an other. And I want to say that as women, people who identify as female, we maybe potentially do it more often than men. I don't know if that would be, scientifically true, but that's kind of my gut feeling. And I'd love to hear reflections on that, because that's just me guessing from personal experience. But I would love actually to hear other people's feelings on that. But anyway, so regardless of gender, again, inclusive of all genders, the spirit world says, it's so key for us to stay clicked into that rod that is us. And then once we're fully clicked into that, then and only then do, me as my goldenrod and you as your goldenrod each essentially click in to our own goldenrods, and each tune in, take a deep breath, do whatever it takes, like even a moment or 10 minutes or an hour or a day or, a year, whatever it takes for us to fully feel and fully get it in our bodies, in ourselves, what feels in alignment for us and what doesn't. And then, if and only if it feels fully, completely in alignment, in like the will of the divine, essentially. That's what I mean by alignment. Like that this is in the will of the divine, and I'm getting that yes, that click in me. And my goldenrod says yes, and the divine says yes through me. That you and I should, whatever it is, have a conversation, go for a walk together, work together, do a video together, like engage in some kind of intimate relational thing, whether it's sexual or non-sexual, or have a baby together. That's a big one. Get married, or be lifelong partners. That's really a big one. Also, whatever it is, it can be really momentary or longer term or whatever. Be your friend. Dance on the side of a mountain for 20 minutes. Whatever. If and only when we get the yes and the yes, then it's like the will of the divine for us to co-create together. And then the divine can suddenly enter in, and become like this other entity dancing with us, right? And it's infinitely beautiful and completely unknown what could happen. Like miracles can happen in that moment. So anyway, that's the second aspect of alignment that I've been really feeling into, is what do our lives become, or how do our relationships change, or how do our lives change in general? How does our world change if we really practice that sense of alignment? And then that brings me to the last really key, really important aspect of that. That's also, this is the newer part that's being shown to me, which is another step that can happen for us when we're fully clicked into that alignment, is the image I'm shown is essentially that, we can each be like a crystal. Like Martha, could be a crystal, and then you are a crystal, and each entity can be thought of as a crystal. So if I'm a crystal and I have this goldenrod, then when it's like this grid, of these goldenrods is like an electrical board, essentially. That's how it's shown to me. So there's electricity, or really it's light, that gets transmitted by this grid. Okay, so and that light is, source, the light of life, of source, of the love. Really, it's the love of the divine. That's one way to put it. And the light of the divine, and the creation of source, like creation, life force, the spark of life. So many different ways to put it. Anyway, that spark of life is what makes everything. Okay, but like that light will get transmitted, literally go zip, zip, through this grid. And when, let's say, the light, the golden rod, that's me, when I feel that zip of that life force come through me, again, the tendency in our world, and again, I want to say primarily for women, but I'm saying that, but I'm putting a big caveat on it. I don't know if that's really accurate, because I'm sure men feel this way sometimes too, or any genders feel this way. So, that when we feel that light, that life force move through us, the tendency is often to then bring it out into the world. Like, in other words, I feel this life force, or this like love, move through my body. I feel an impulse to then share it, or like give it, to let it transmit then to someone else, like to my child, or to a lover, or to a friend, or to the world, or something, my cat, I don't know, whatever. Somehow my impulse is for it to come out. And that's not bad. But what the spirit world essentially is saying is, hang on. Like, just wait just a minute. Imagine yourself as this crystalline energetic, like this crystalline being. And if you're this crystal, this kind of like self-encapsulated being that's connected to literally infinity also, and this spark of life force moves through you energetically, then imagine this spark of light comes up through the rod that's you, the golden rod. And then instead of that light leaving you immediately, just let that light refract inside the crystal. And the point of that is a few things. I feel like this could take many videos going to all of this, but they keep reminding me that anything and everything that we experience, quote unquote, outside ourselves can be thought of as really just a reflection of energetics within ourselves, right? So when we want, let's say, love from someone else, really that desire for the love is an energy that's in us. So what the spirit world is saying is that there's a need to practice having this awareness of the energy that is us staying in the field that is us. And at least for a time, to get practice really feeling like when I have an impulse to love, to like this love comes through me and I want to extend it to someone else. The spirit world is essentially saying to me, hang on, slow down, let that love reverberate inside you, because it came through you. Therefore, it is you. We all are love, right? Source is love. But just hang on a second. Imagine yourself as that crystal and let that love reverberate in you as that crystal, and just let that light of that love do whatever it is here to do. Because you want to be, quote unquote, be loved, let's say, right? Well, you already are. You already have this love impulse moving through you. So you have the light of love moving. You are the light of love, but you have this, if you want to be loved, you have love in you. And so rather than, letting that energy leave your body, and seeking, it's so ironic. It's like we have the desire to be loved. So then we let that desire essentially leave us. We go seeking it somewhere else, and we're wanting love back. But guess what? That love was already here. I mean, I know it's not that simple, but this is what the spirit world is trying to get me and humanity to practice, is what does it feel like in our bodies, in ourselves, in our hearts, in our minds, in our spirit, if we, again, instead of having that impulse, that energetic go outward to us, from us, let that light come up your body and imagine yourself as that crystal being, and imagine the light just refracting over and over and over inside you as that crystal. And what is that, that light gets to suddenly do miracles. Like, it suddenly gets to heal you and love you. And it's like the divine wants to say, is like saying to me, suddenly I get a new way of loving you. When you let that light reverberate in you, as you, for you, I get another way of loving you. It's like, I'm trying so hard to love you, and you're just like, the energy keeps leaving you because you're seeking it out there, but it's right here. So why are we doing this to ourselves? Oh my God. Yeah. So I think that's enough for now. Oh, but yeah, so I'm feeling all of this come up when we move toward this new moon eclipse, and it's a really complicated set of energies that I'm speaking to here, but this seems to be one way that the spirit world is saying that we have an opportunity to really drop in and allow these energies of healing, and this holding of this healing space that is present for us, so that we can find whatever healing it is we need. And if we are desiring that click and that alignment with the divine, and the ability to feel ourselves as one with the divine, and then also one within ourselves, and one within that ability to let the healing happen inside of ourselves. All of this energetically is entirely possible here and now. Like, really, really, really. So that's what they're wanting me to say today. And if you would like any support with any of that, people say to me, I feel lost. I can't find my real connection with source. I know it's there. I know I have all these gifts, but I just can't quite get there. That's really the biggest thing that I'm being asked by the spirit world to be present for. So that's exactly what I help people with. So I'm here available to do that one-on-one, and also you can take a look at my Patreon membership and my online courses or online experiences, and also my books, which are on Amazon, and they are Living the One Light, Gaia Speaks, and The Cosmos Speaks. Those are the 3 that are out so far. There's a bunch more in the works. But yeah, all of that can be found on livingtheonelight.com. livingtheonelight.com. You can connect to me through there, make an appointment with me, or connect to the courses or the books. It's all available there. Or email me, livingtheonelight@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening. And yeah, and I'm also going to make a video just for my Patreon members regarding these energies of this eclipse. What I do for my Patreon members every week is a channeled message directly for them. And what I'm feeling wanting to come through today for the Patreon members is a channeled guided meditation that essentially is, to help with this alignment experience. And I never know exactly what's going to come through until it does, because it's channeled, so it's not me planning it, but that I can feel that's the gist of what's going to be coming through for the Patreon members. So if you want to join me for that, I would love for you to do that. I'll put the link for that in the description below. And yeah, I think that's all for now. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you soon.